The laboratory buzzed with energy, its machines humming softly beneath blinking lights. A towering device stood at the center, radiating an otherworldly glow that drew every gaze. Beside the contraption, two young explorers exchanged eager looks. They were captivated by the prospect of uncovering secrets hidden across time. Dr. Morgan worked tirelessly, his hands deftly adjusting knobs and flipping switches. The invention's potential filled the room with both excitement and tension. A sudden jolt of electricity made the air crackle, sending a shiver of anticipation through the onlookers. The machine pulsed as if alive, its hum growing louder with each passing second. Before anyone could react, a blinding flash erupted, enveloping the entire room. The ground beneath their feet disappeared, and an overwhelming force pulled them into the unknown. When the brightness faded, they found themselves standing on solid ground again. Surrounding them were towering buildings, made of gleaming glass and a world abuzz with unfamiliar sounds. The unfamiliar city buzzed with life, its streets crowded with strangers speaking a language that felt alien, overwhelmed and unsure. The pair wandered aimlessly, searching for something familiar. Spotting a small cafe nestled between towering buildings, they decided to step inside. The comforting aroma of coffee greeted them, offering a momentary sense of relief. Behind the counter stood an attendant who smiled warmly, greeting them with a cheerful, "What would you like?" The question hung in the air, a reminder of their sudden disadvantage. Gestures and uncertain glances were exchanged as they struggled to respond. Finally, one of them pointed hesitantly at a menu board, hoping it would suffice. The attendant's expression softened, understanding their plight. With a reassuring nod, he clarified the choices slowly, emphasizing each word as though teaching. A tentative attempt at communication followed. The first brave attempt to say, "I want a coffee." Though imperfect, it was met with encouragement, a steaming cup placed on the counter. Encouraged, the second traveler tried, "I want water, please." Mimicking the example, a second smile greeted the effort, and a glass was delivered with a kind word of approval. Outside again, the sunlit streets seemed slightly less intimidating. Emboldened by their small success, they decided to explore further. Turning a corner, the pair stumbled upon a bustling square filled with street performers and market stalls. The lively energy was infectious, but it also presented challenges. Navigating through the crowd, they realized they needed help finding their way. A kind stranger approached, noticing their hesitation. "Excuse me," they managed to say, haltingly but clear. The words were simple but effective, catching the stranger's attention immediately. In halting sentences, they explained their need for directions, gesturing toward a map displayed nearby. The helpful passerby pointed out landmarks, repeating key words to ensure understanding. Words like park, station, and library began to sink in as they repeated them aloud. The practice boosted their confidence, reinforcing their determination to adapt. Walking away from the square, they practiced the new words between themselves. Each successful repetition felt like a small victory in an otherwise overwhelming day. Not long after, they discovered the map had been lost somewhere in the chaos of the crowd. Without it, their sense of direction vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Spotting a small convenience store, they entered with a sense of purpose. Shelves lined with unfamiliar products surrounded them, but their goal was clear. Approaching the counter, they tried to articulate their request. "Do you have a map?" came the careful question, each word delivered with precision. The store clerk smiled and produced a folded paper map from beneath the counter. Relief washed over them as they accepted it with a polite "thank you." Before they could leave, the clerk suggested downloading a map application on their phones. Though the instructions were basic, the explanation required them to concentrate on new vocabulary. The interaction tested their patience, but it also expanded their growing arsenal of English words. Grateful for the advice, they left the store better equipped than before. While studying the map, they noticed a symbol that looked eerily familiar. It reminded them of the lab's insignia, sparking a memory of the machine's original design. Following the directions, they arrived at a grand building that seemed out of place in the modern city. The structure housed a library, its doors opening to reveal rows of towering bookshelves. Inside, they approached a desk where an elderly librarian greeted them with a patient smile. The conversation began with a hesitant, "We need directions to the lab." The librarian listened carefully, piecing together their fragmented sentences. Pulling out an old manual, he explained its contents slowly, pointing to technical diagrams that matched their vague recollections. Words like machine, energy, and return became their new focus, repeated until they felt natural. With the librarian's guidance, they deciphered the next steps to reactivate the device. Their gratitude was evident in every thank you they spoke, each one filled with growing confidence. With the information in hand, they left the library ready to complete their journey. Back at the lab, the process of restarting the machine went smoothly. The knowledge they had gained from their adventure proved invaluable. As the familiar hum of the machine filled the air, they exchanged a look of triumph. The experience had transformed their fear of the unknown into a willingness to embrace challenges. The journey reinforced an important truth. Small steps in learning led to significant progress. Every effort to speak, listen, and understand had opened doors they once thought impossible. With a renewed sense of purpose, they stepped back into the swirling light of the machine. This time, they carried with them not only hope but also the skills to navigate any world.